Good afternoon and welcome back to batch 3 of the 90 book Evergreen Pages, what I'm calling amazing condition science fiction haul. I got a crazy deal on this again, and I said on the last video that this is probably the best conditioned haul overall that I've ever got. So some of the books here from the 60s, mainly some of them from the 70s, there's a lot all the way up to 2010-12. Which, strangely, the later ones aren't as in good condition, but I have got some 60s and 70s books that are the best condition in my whole collection, which is incredible for these, if you know the price of these. So on to box 3, or batch 3, same box, and hopefully if it continues, I'm going to be blown away by this, and it's one of my best hauls for sure, especially on condition wise, but also some great books that I haven't got in my collection from some good authors. Okay, Mike Resnick. I did get one from Mike Resnick, and I've got one downstairs which is Ivory, I think it's called. Stalking the Unicorn. Resnick's tales are ironic, inventive, and very readable. So this is a newer one by Arrow. Stalking the Unicorn. So is this fantasy? Let's have a look. 1987, first published 1987. It's New Year's Eve and the elf perched on Mallory's desk wants his missing unicorn back, and that's the easy part. Mallory's wife has run off with his partner. Goblin's Rule. I should have seen that. Goblin's Rule. So that's the first, I think, what looks like pure fantasy of the whole thing so far. So that's what? Book 61 of 90. So it's mainly science fiction and some science fantasy. Okay, this is leisure books, which I do have some of them, and this looks a little bit like American football or rugby, which should be quite good. He was more than a football hero. He was the golden boy who made dreams come true. The Blaze of Autumn by Roe Richmond. So the quality that it's not there on this book, that's for sure. And is this even sci-fi? What is this? 1980, Joe Richmond. Joe Blaze could do it all. Triple threat back from Midland University. He was the best football player in the big-time college game in the 1930s. But during his senior season, the Blazer ran into trouble. First, there was the women in his life, but Joe played on, loved the women, flirted them. The 1930s come alive in this remarkable novel of football and fraternities and murder. Very strange from what we've been expecting. It's been all science fiction. Okay, this is science fiction, isn't it? Alan Dean Foster, Mission to Mulukin. So, well, or science fantasy. So good condition, but not of the ilk that I've been used to in this haul, but still pretty good. And I don't have this, so NEL, Mission to Mulukin. It's got a nice map in the front. Must have a map. 1979. NEL. Oh no, this edition 1980. For Ethan Frome, Fortune, and his muscle-bound sidekick Skua, September, the frozen planet of Tranky Key had become too much of a cold thing. The phenomenal sequel to Ice Rigger, so I need to look out for Ice Rigger. Good. So far, based on those 3 books, it isn't of the quality of the first 2 hauls, which were amazing. If you haven't seen them, please go back. Okay, new one, Robert Fraser, the exciting sequel to A Small Colonial War by the author of McClendon Syndrome, Fire in a Faraway Place. Is that Del Rey? Yeah, it is, down the bottom. Newer Del Rey. 6 years after Lieutenant Colonel Anton Vereshchagin's 1st Battalion, 35th Imperial Infantry Regiment rifle quelled the revolt that marooned it on Swede Africa. Another fleet appears in the skies, Earth not forgotten. Swede Africa, South Africa not, as the Japanese company that once ran the planet. No idea about this one. No idea at all. 1994. They had sown the wind, now they must sow the whirlwind. So like a mix between, I don't know, some kind of colonial history and some spaceships. Again, not sure about that one. Now this one looks more like it, and the condition looks more like it. So Leo P. Kelly Mind Mix. I have got some Leo P. Kelly, and it's an old coronet, so I think a 70s coronet in excellent condition. So this is more like it, and more like the first 60 books.
1973 coronet, unread for sure.
The world is dying. A disease more terrible than cancer ravages its populace, not populace. Scientists struggle while people die in their thousands. There is no known cure. Pete Bratton was a simple man. Is he the hero? Pete. Good cover as well. It's just a lovely book. When they're in these conditions, it really, I don't know, affects me. And then we get a strange thing like this. Now, again, in my mind is don't pass up Charles Sheffield. One of my watchers, subscribers, I think, told me to not judge a Charles Sheffield book by its cover. It's hard not to sometimes. I'm not saying that's bad, but it's again, not the kind of thing that I would seek out. Earth has been ravaged by galactic disaster, but the real devastation is yet to come. And again, it's just me judgy. I really shouldn't judgy book covers. And I haven't read any Charles Sheffield yet. So 1999, the year is 2053 and Earth has barely recovered from the Alpha Centauri supernova that destroyed much of the planet's infrastructure. Now the supernova's residual effect, a storm of high energy particles, is racing towards Earth. Yeah, it's space opera, right? Space adventure. So that Mind Mix by Leo Kelly does appeal to me more than that, but good to have in the collection. Now, I definitely have this little NEL. I've had this come through my hands quite a few times now. But again, I think this might be the best copy. So Starflight 3000 R.W. Mackleworth. And I do love these little NELs. Unread. For sure again, unread. Almost pristine. 1972, first published Ballantine. This NEL 1976. Starflight 3000 looks into the distant future when a new race has evolved on the moon, a moon that is a thin atmosphere created by tiny tenacious life forms and vast shallow seas. So yeah, always very similar to that Heinlein Revolt in 2010 and 2100, sorry. Lovely copy. That's almost definitely an upgrade on what I've got. So that will go into my collection. Okay, another Fred Saberhagen Berserker, this time with a price on the front. That's the first time I've really had a price, especially on the front, because the condition's been so good. So this is a Tor Berserker Blue Death. I've got a few of these now, and I know nothing about Berserker. There's so many kind of franchises that relate to Berserker, right? There's the old, I don't think I've got it anymore, I think it's in storage, but the old manga, like the original manga, the guy with the long hair. And there's, I think, the stuff that Keanu Reeves is doing as well. And then you've got this, for example. 1987, first mass market paperback. The Great Blue Berserker's destruction of the human colony Shubra was swift and merciless. Niles Domingo's daughter lies among the dead. Yeah, so 2 minds. Okay, Monarch. I did have a couple of Monarchs. I think I've got this book. I remember this cover again. So The World Grabbers by Paul W. Fairman. Or do I remember it just because I saw it online and it's a very memorable cover? So not the best condition compared to what I'm used to. Was he saint or devil, this man who called himself Sri Ahandi? That was the entire ad, an obvious come on for some con game, but somehow it pulled Dane Morrow like a magnet. A dramatic novel inspired by the popular TV programme One Step Beyond. Don't know that. Copyright One Step Beyond Productions, 1964, a Monarch Books original novel. So it's old. Are you a failure? If success has passed you by, there may still be time. Sri Ahandi has helped many to undreamed of heights. Very interesting book. Not great condition, but very interesting book. I like the idea of that. It looks like, reminds me of Big, where they go and they pay their money and he turns into an adult. The Ship That Sailed the Time Stream by G.C. Edmondson. And again, good condition, but this is the first real fading I've seen. See there, the difference between the brown? So really good condition. Arrow, isn't it? The old Arrow. But slightly faded on the spine. So there's a range of books here. I don't think they're all of the same type or collection. So 1971, 65 originally, 1971 Arrow books. So that's a little bit blemished, a little bit browned, and a little bit faded. Ensign Joseph Raitt commanded a ship in the United States Navy, an odd ship, 89 feet long, made of wood and sail-powered. There was a reason, of course. The Alice was engaged in very secret counter-submarine research work. Then the lightning struck, confusion, men fall in the ship's swing, and then calm again. At once Joe sensed that something was wrong. The wind had switched, the sky cleared, and there off the port bow was a ship, a Viking ship, filled with rather hostile Vikings. So, time travel on the seas, on the 7 seas. Console books. So I've got a handful of console books, like less than 5, I think. I haven't got this one. Richard Saxon, The Stars Came Down. And that's good condition as well. Could he suspend his life for 1,000 years, long enough to reach the stars? So cryogenics or something of that ilk. 1964, I think it is 1964, that's good condition. John Graham started up from the couch with a strangled cry. It was too much, he was a fool. The others had been right, the thing was impossible, unthinkable. But the silent figures in the control rooms continued to watch the meters, and no one turned back to stare at Earth. At last, man was on his way to the stars. It's great. A science fiction novel by Jonathan Fast, Signet, Mortal Gods. That's a great cover. What is that strange female form? That's good cover though. And again, great condition with the yellow text block. Copyright 1978, and this edition 1979. Mutagen was the company. Oh, there's a bit of damage on the back, unfortunately. So definitely, so far, the average is not as good as the other haul, the other 60. Mutagen was the company that had made mankind's wildest dreams a living reality, creating the lifestyle as genetically manipulated humans become gods, and allowing the dead to live again as elder statesmen. Interesting. Great cover there. Okay, this is an oldie by the looks of it. The Desolate Land by Eric M. Livesey, the novel of a blood-chilling world of the future. Ah, great. It's a digit book. I do want to get more of these. The Badgers and the Digits I quite like and haven't got a lot of. When Charles Massey was recalled urgently to Washington, he could sense that something was amiss. He was right, for a nuclear explosion in the outer atmosphere produced phenomenal radiation effects on Earth. This is old, I think. First published in Digit Books, 1964. So not amazing condition, but for the type of book, the fact it's Digit and it's 1964, that's great. Okay, is that? Yeah, that is A format. And from Digit Books to Badger Books, which I just mentioned, which was directly under The Desolate Land, which is Space Fury by R.L. Fanthorpe. And I think I saw this one on the listing. Really good condition again, and I think this is old, 2 and 6 science fiction. Blake had waited a long time for his big chance. Finally, the selection board called him in. This was it. He got his promotion, his captain's ticket, and his first assignment. Wow. It says 50s or maybe 1960s, low 60s. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. I want to find it. Okay, so I found out. This is actually 1962. That's the cover. There are a few different covers, but my one's got this badger here, so it's 1962. So it looks older for some reason, but still great condition for a 1962 novel. From 1962 to something a lot newer, Murphy's Gambit. You can outrun your enemies, but not your past. Scene, Sign Mitchell. I don't know. I think there's something about modern livery design, or maybe not modern, I don't know, this is 20, 30 years old, right? But it just doesn't have the same appeal. Maybe that's just my nostalgia, but the art is obviously great. But cover art by Matt Stavicki in 2000. They are called Floaters. Humans born and raised to withstand a zero-gravity environment and work in space for the corporations as little more than indentured servants. Ostracized by the prejudices of grounded people, the Floaters have created a culture and society of their own, but now they want their freedom. That's quite an interesting premise, for sure. 2000. Okay, so more than halfway through the end. Okay, this is definitely a book that there were like 3 or 4 that just caught my imagination, and you'll see why this caught my imagination. I'm not going to tell you the title. I will show you the title, but what a great title, and what an interesting hand-drawn cover as well. So, A Lancer Science Fiction original by C.C. McCapp. The men outside want in, even if they had to destroy their world to make it. What a cover, And what a name for a book. Not the best condition out of all of them, but I'm glad to have this in my collection. So Lancer, the first Lancer I think from this haul, 1972 by C.C. McCapp. The Barrier. Jeff Adams stared northward. From this spot he could see over the hummocks and just make out the scarlet glow along the top of the barrier, though he couldn't see the land along the base. This side of 200 miles, the east and the west was Follows country. And then, a bumsider could dream of being inside and wonder what crime or deficiency had got his ancestors exiled to Bumside. But not for long. In Bumside you had to keep moving to keep eating. What a book that is. Very happy to have that one. Okay, more traditional fare, let's say, is Skylark 3. Doc Smith Classic Series Skylark. I don't know if I've got this one. I have got some Skylark, I've got some Lensman, I've got some Family d'Alembert, or however you pronounce it. It says 30p. Again, not the best condition. This whole really, the last two, honestly, have a look. Amazing condition. So this is 1974. The first of the Mighty Skylark spacecraft took Dick Seaton and Mark Crane to Fantastic World. Skylark 2, but let's go to the third one. I am going to read some Doc Smith pretty soon, after my 10-book challenge, I think. Okay, the 5th Galaxy Reader. I've got a few Galaxy Readers, I think, in pan. This is Pocketbooks, edited by H.L. Gold. 15 superlative stories from the page of the most widely read science fiction magazine in the world. So I haven't got any Galaxy magazines. I have got some Analog, some Fantastic, and some others. Astounding, mainly. William W. Stewart, Fritz Lieber, Robert Silverberg, which is Double Dare, Black Charlie by Gordon R. Dixon, Avram Davidson, Frederick Pohl, William Morrison, Kornbluth, Cordwain Smith. Nice little red book. Red block. And when's that from? Can't be late 50s, can it? Must be 60. 1963, this edition. So that's nice. I haven't got many of these sized from this haul. They're mainly A format paperbacks. Pretty much all A format paperbacks, which is what I like. Alan Steele, Clark County Space, first British publication. That's what's so great about a hobby. Like the vast range. I've jumped from the 5th Galaxy Reader to Clark County Space. The world, like, just, again, I say it all the time, but just to have the time to digest in all of these. I could spend the rest of my life just reading these and having a bit of food and water and maybe a bit of exercise. 1991 Legend edition. I do have a couple of the Legend ones. Trouble has come to Clark County, trouble in the delectable shape of Macy Westmoreland, gangster's mole on the run from the mafia. Then there's the Golem. He's the ultimate killing machine, and Macy's his latest contract. More than enough problems for John Bigthorne, sheriff by day, shaman by night. He knew better than to mess with Jenny Shaw. Is it? Am I guessing this is a Western in space? I don't know. Again, if you've read it, let me know. Okay, not many left. Oh, this is my second Alan Dean Foster, I think. A deep space adventure. In the dead of space, something is alive, but it ain't alien. Well, it is an alien, probably. Inspired by the imaginative genius behind Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. and Jurassic Park, here is an epic science fiction adventure too big for even Steele and Spielberg to bring to the screen. They said it could never happen. A mile-wide asteroid on collision course with the Earth threatens to cause mass destruction. Any Alan Dean Foster fans? Interesting. 1995, LucasArts Entertainment. To Steven Spielberg, I waited 40 years for those dinosaurs, thanks. From the epic LucasArts CD-ROM. Now I'm confused. But anyway, again, if you know anything about that, please let me know. Please add to my low knowledge of these things. I think I've heard of this one, or I've seen this one, and the reason I've seen it is because I've got Shark Trust on, but I've got Manta Trust as well, and I'm a big, as you know, cetaceans sea lover. Timothy Zahn, An Extraordinary Adventure of Alien First Contact, Manta's Gift, and look at those beasties on the front. That's pretty cool. Destiny's Stepchild. Matt Raimi had his whole life ahead of him when fate got in the way. One moment he was skiing down a tricky slope, the next he was flat on his back, paralysed, spending the rest of his life starting up the ceiling. But Earth's ruling 500 then decided he had to spy on his new family. Interesting. So this is Tor. Timothy Zahn, is he well respected? 2002. I do like the look of that one. I think we've had a bigger, more new to old ratio on these ones as well. Maybe they were put at the bottom of the box deliberately or something, you know, in terms of compacting, maybe. You never know. Fred Saberhagen again, Earth Descended. Is this also Berserker? Fred Saberhagen is one of the best writers in the business, Stephen Donaldson, a master's vision of what the future may hold. I've got a few of these, I think. Price on the back, otherwise good. Tor again. 1988 third printing. Pinnacle of creation, or it all began on planet Earth sometime in the middle Pleistocene. A ground-running ape stood erect, gazed at the stars and wondered. Since that distant time and place, we humans have ranged far indeed and changed much, and the travelling and the changing have left us sundered. But no matter how new planets reshape our bodies and new gods reshape our souls, we and we alone are the Earth Descended. Powerful intro. Okay, this looks more like me, and it's pretty good condition. The New Minds, a novel of the sixth perception by Dan Morgan, Corgi. That's better. That's better. Very good condition. Again, crisp, very crisp pages. You can hear them probably. And it's 1967 Corgi edition, copyright. At the centre of consciousness lies a pool of knowledge, infinite, unbelievable in its immensity. This is the story of that knowledge, of an experiment with men and women to create the sixth perception. In the beginning it was simple, the reaching out of two child minds across space, but the power became a threat, a weapon that menaced the very existence, the new minds. I do like those, like A. Van Vogt kind of telepathy type things. How far can the mind go? Okay, it's a Henry Kuttner Mayflower Dell. Sorry, I did get a Mayflower Dell before, but not Henry Kuttner. This is No Story for the Lily-Livered. Great term. A science fiction novel of violence. Say it how it is, Henry. Nice. And this is, there isn't one of those ones that's numbered. Okay, this is a little bit more delicate. Don't Stop, So published in my blog, 1963. Fury is a novel of violence. It describes the tortured struggle of the human race to aspire to the stars from the deeps of the Venusian seas. The struggle is organised around the career of Sam Reed, an immortal. Interesting. I haven't read any Henry Kuttner, but he is one of the originals, I think. Right? Okay, another Saberhagen, but this is a tandem. It's got a little bit of a chip, but this looks pretty cool. There's a lot of Saberhagen in here, actually. I've massively grown, maybe at least doubled my Saberhagen collection. Can the old technology match the might of the new demonology? The second of the great new science fantasy series by the author of Berserker, The Black Mountains. So what's the first one? The Broken Lands, looks like. This 1973 Universal Tandem. When Chupp's castle fell to the forces of the West, the ex-lord was reduced to beggary at its gates. Each day he faced the Black Mountains of the East, to which he had sworn fealty, and where he hoped his unclaimed bride still waited. So maybe this is fantasy, science fantasy. So a couple more fantasy. A very strange end to the box. And I've been treated at the beginning of the box. But this is still a good haul, but it's not as, I don't know, it isn't giving me the same feels as the first 60 odd books. Okay, The Throne of Saturn. It's a coronet in good condition, but it's a thick coronet. Alan Drury? Alan Drury. That's a chunk of a book. That's a heavy book. A new novel packed with the drama, the suspense, and the politics of America's race to put the first man on Mars, from the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of Advise and Consent. Commanding the mission was astronaut Commander Trasker, a man of great toughness, but the problems that besieged him were manifold and messy, and maverick. Of course he is. Throne of Saturn, a novel of space and politics. That's an interesting one. Coronet edition 1973, that's good condition, that is. I haven't seen that before. Nice. Okay, what's that, 4 left? Only 4 left. Okay, what was that? Black Mountains? And what was the first one I mentioned? Yeah, the Broken Lands. So that's the Black Mountains. I just saw Fred Saberhagen. And here is the Broken Lands Fred Saberhagen, which looks like it's from the same series. And I think it's the first one. The first of a great new science fantasy series by the author of Berserker. And that was the second. So good. I've got two in the series at least. 1973. The passing of thousands of years had left the planet Earth a series of broken lands, a mutated world of distant alien empires, and near at hand rapacious satraps. Okay, strange cover. But those two together, very nice. Very nice. Okay, three left. A bit of Kenneth Bulmer. The Hunters of Jundagai. Quest and Quarry are on the Dimensional Steeplechase. It's an ace double. Oh, nice. Okay, so Kenneth Bulmer, The Hunters of Jundagai, and John Glasby, if I can read upside down, Project Jove. So I don't have many of these, but they are tokenistic, but, you know, nice. Directive, descend through the intolerable and correct the impossible. And this one is Quest and Quarry are in the Dimensional Steeplechase. And then inside we've got some adverts for Science Fiction Hall of Fame, edited by Robert Silverberg. That's cool. So, what's this, 60 something? Oh no, 71 is the Bulmer. And Glasby. So they're new novels brought out at the same time, and a lot of adverts. But that's good condition, that. Ace double. It's probably my best condition, ace double. So two left. So the first one, very nice condition. Now this is more like the condition of the ones I saw in the first batch. It's got a bit of a crease. Corgi Books, a new novel by Dan Morgan, author of The New Minds, which I think I just got. The Several Minds, so maybe this is the sequel to The New Minds. I think it may well be. 1969, Dan Morgan. To begin with, there were not very many of them, just a few whose minds could reach out and explore and touch the heart of consciousness. Together they hid away from the world, experimenting with the ultimate in human consciousness, risking their sanity. They forgot that they were other minds as powerful as theirs. So like a psychological war. Okay, last book. The Abominable Earthman by Frederick Pohl. Abominable, not abominable, abominable. Frederick Pohl. And that is, oh, I can't see, it's got a sticker on it. Oh, it's a little spider in there as well. Ballantine from 1963. Nice book to end on, but not the quality I've seen. But again, when I'm normally doing 1963 books, I don't expect them. Look at 3 and 6 in the corner, that's the sticker. Frederick Pohl writes top flight science fiction, blah, blah, blah. Alternating Currents, The Case Against Tomorrow, and now The Abominable Earthman. Did I say Snowman? Earthman. Anyone lucky enough to have obtained the above now owns many stories which have become classics in the field. It doesn't say. A new collection, sorry. Short stories. These are the first short stories of the whole thing. We never meant, so that's the list from Frederick Pohl. So that's the last book. So in terms of favourites, it's a tougher one this time because there's not as many standouts, I have to be honest. It's still a good haul. Like this is like what I'd normally get. And remember, I'm only paying less than, I don't know, definitely less than £1, could be less than like 60, 70p a book. In terms of favourites, let's have a look. So honourable mention to that because of just the amazing condition, and that's similar condition to the other hauls. So this one, because it's console, and I find them quite rare to get hold of. Probably the best condition console I've got, Richard Saxon. This one because it's very me, Coronet, and an awesome condition Coronet. That's just a lovely book, lovely cover. Don't know anything about Leo P. Kelly, and I've got a couple of him. And then this doesn't need me to say anything, but it's not the best condition, but it's the most fun book so far, and I'm intrigued, and I should put it on my TBR now. So thank you. That is the third of the 90 book Evergreen haul, and it was condition amazing for at least 66%. That's all I'm going to say. So please watch back the two previous videos. Let me know what you think. Very happy. I'd say 98% of them are perfect for my science fiction library. So speak to you soon. Watch, comment, like, subscribe, and yes, hope you're still enjoying me open boxes and prattle on. Cheers.